Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jump Lawrence Lorica, BSCS 25. Today, I will explain our progress in final project, GOI. Dito, gumamit kami ng pair panel, saka chart panel, saka button. Tapos, kada value is function. Ginawa to dahil para mas mapadali na lang yung paggawa ng isang component. Di na kinakailangan na magkodole para makagawa ng isang component. Tulad nito, create button, saka yung create panel child, saka yung create panel.
Good day, everyone. My name is Daniel Gasin Parales, and so far our progress in coding is this, and it is still in progress. So let's start by showing you our GUI. So here's our GUI with the quiz geography on top, and then on the buttons we have time quiz, practice quiz, and then quit. On time quiz, since our code doesn't have content, but still we're trying to process it and making a progress. Same as practice quiz, it doesn't have content so far, and then on quit, the system will quit. So step by step, I'll show you the process when we pressed it. So firstly, first time quiz. This shows nothing because our code doesn't have content so far. Same as practice quiz. When we press it, it shows nothing. And then on quit, the system will quit or shut down, which is this when I pressed it. So far, that's our progress on coding. And still, we're doing better. And we're trying to put more content on our code. So far, this is our coding. I'll show it to you guys. This is all of it. And thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is LGD Balagan, and I'll be explaining my group's layout for our code. Okay, so as you may have seen, uh, we have the GUI for the menu, but not the quiz itself. It doesn't have any content yet. So this is what the layout plan is. This is what it's gonna look like right here. So wait. Uh, okay, so this is for the practice quiz. So there is a leave button right here. We're gonna make a button for it. So they press leave, they go back to the main menu, and then we have a frame here, a label for the questionnaire. So this is for the question, which country with the highest GDP, and this is the answer which you can pick from. Also another frame. So this is for the practice quiz. It has no timer. You can leave whenever you want, and it can also show you like how many points you've gotten right and what you've gotten wrong. Right. So this is what it's gonna look like after the practice quiz or time quiz. So this is what's gonna show you once you finish those, and then this is for the time quiz. So there's a timer up here, and it counts down, and yeah, it still has the basically the same, but it doesn't have the what you got right and what you got wrong, like just like an actual quiz. So the leave button is here, the questionnaire is here, and the timer. So that's basically our plan, our next plan for what's gonna be the content inside the quiz. So yeah.
Everyone. I will briefly explain how layout managers work in our Java Swing program and why combining them can be challenging. In our code, we are using multiple layout managers to organize the components properly. The main frame uses a border layout, which divides the window into regions like north and center. This is why the title panel is placed at the top, while the buttons are centered in the middle. Inside the top panel, we use a flow layout. This allows the label quiz geography to stay centered, regardless of the window size. However, flow layout does not strictly follow the preferred size of components, which is why we need to adjust font sizes and dimensions manually. For the buttons, we use a grid bag layout inside the child panel. Grid bag layout is more flexible and lets us place buttons vertically with spacing. This layout respects alignment better, but it is more complex to use compared to others. One important thing to understand in Swing is that layout managers are strict. Each layout flow follows its own rules, and some layouts override the preferred size of components. For example, even if we set a preferred size for a panel or button, the layout manager may ignore it depending on the available space. Because of this behavior, multiple layouts are needed. No single layout manager can handle everything. Border layout organizes the main structure. Flow layout centers simple elements, and grid bag layout gives us control over button placement. In summary, Java Swing layout managers are difficult to combine, and components don't always resize as expected. That is why careful layout planning is important when designing Swing interfaces. That's all.
Good day, sir. I'm Raven Joshua Diquito from Group 3. So, one of the challenges we encountered while building this Java Swing application was component alignment. In Swing, centering buttons is not straightforward, especially when you want them to stay centered even when the window size changes. Using simpler layouts like flow layout or border layout was not enough for precise positioning. That is why we use grid bag layout for the buttons inside the child panel. Grid bag layout is powerful, but it requires many constraints such as grid X, greedy insets, and layout positioning rules. Each button must be manually placed using grid bag constraints. For example, we used grid X equals 0 to keep all buttons in one column. Different greedy values to stack the buttons vertically, insets to add spacing between buttons. Because of this, aligning components consistently required trial and error using grid bag layout. We had to adjust constraints several times to achieve proper spacing and centering. However, the advantage is that once configured correctly, grid bag layout keeps the button centered and evenly spaced regardless the screen size. So even though it is more complex than other layouts, grid bag layout provided better control and a cleaner UI design for our quiz application.
Hi, my name is John Barlao de Lorente, and the third issues for our code is multiple screens or navigation. One of the challenges we faced was managing navigation between multiple screens in the quiz. We had to switch between different frames such as the menu, quiz, and result screens without confusing the user or opening unnecessary windows. Another issue was deciding whether to hide the frames so they could be reused later or dispose of them to free up system resources. Making the right choice was important for smooth navigation and performance, which made this part of the project challenging. That's all for me. So
Hello, my name is Mitch Trisha Shamel Elmanuel from BSC S25 Group 3. And the fourth issue that we encountered in this project is that the event handling was mixed with UI, which means that the code that shows or handles the design, for example, the buttons, the text boxes, and the layout is written together with the code that handles the user actions. For example, the clicking, the typing, and selecting. Everything is placed in one file together, and this can become a problem because the code can become harder to maintain later because the code can get crowded and confusing. And currently, we are encountering that UI and logic are in the same class, and we plan to separate this later.
And the last issue that we encountered is the UI is designed for large screens. And adapting it to different resolutions such as smartphones, tablet, or ultra-wide monitor is still a challenge. But our team is still working on the technical solutions to make it function well on all other devices mentioned.